Don't compare yourself with other people. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday. One of the things I've told men over and over and over and over is if you're being rejected by all the women that you approach, it's not the women. It's in responsibility that most people find the meaning that sustains them through life. It's not in happiness. It's not in impulsive pleasure. Adopt responsibility for your own well-being. Try to put your family together. Try to serve your community. Try to seek for eternal truth. That's the sort of thing that can ground you in your life, enough so that you can withstand the difficulty of life. I don't tell people, you're okay the way that you are. That's not the right story. The right story is, you're way less than you could be. Accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. The truth is something that burns. It burns off dead wood. And people don't like having the dead wood burnt off, often because they're 95% dead wood. There's a personality trait known as agreeableness. Agreeable people are compassionate and polite. And agreeable people get paid less than disagreeable people for the same job. Women are more agreeable than men. The idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. It is more difficult to rule yourself than to rule a city. No one gets away with anything, ever, so take responsibility for your own life. Life is tragic. You are tiny and flawed and ignorant and weak, and everything else is huge, complex, and overwhelming. Don't be dependent. At all, ever, period. Free speech is not just another value. It's the foundation of Western civilization. If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards. Women deeply want men who are competent and powerful. And I don't mean power in that they can exert tyrannical control over others. That's not power. That's just corruption. If you're talking to a man who wouldn't fight with you under any circumstances whatsoever, then you're talking to someone for whom you have absolutely no respect. When you start to realize how much of what you've constructed of yourself is based on deception and lies, that is a horrifying realization. It's very hard to find your own words, and you don't actually exist until you have your own words. Life is very difficult. One of the most ancient of religious ideas that emerges everywhere, I would say, is that life is essentially suffering. As pessimistic as I am about the nature of human beings and our capacity for atrocity and malevolence and betrayal and laziness and inertia, and all those things, I think we can transcend all that and set things straight. I've studied authoritarianism for a very long time, for 40 years, and they're started by people's attempts to control the ideological and linguistic territory. If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously, you learn to control it. You can't have a value structure without a hierarchy. They're the same thing because a value structure means one thing takes precedence over another. The connection between psychology, mythology, and literature is as important as the connection between psychology and biology and the hard sciences. If you're not going to be rewarded for your virtues, and instead you're going to be punished for them, then what's your motivation to continue? People have been fed this diet of pabulum, rights, and impulsive freedom. There's just an absolute starvation for the other side of the story. You have to listen very carefully and tell the truth if you are going to get a paranoid person to open up to you. I'm interested in what motivates individuals to participate in atrocious acts to support their ideological identification.